leaders who work quietly behind the scenes. With over 2 decades at NCERT, including his role as Joint Director of the Central Institute of Educational Technology, Professor Rajaram S. Sharma has been instrumental in redefining how India learns. From national platforms like ePathshala and Swayam to digital classrooms across the country, his work has expanded access to quality education for millions. A scholar, innovator, and education leader, his influence spans more than 4 decades.
What we just witnessed is not just a career, it's a legacy. It's my honor to invite to the stage a pioneer of Indian education, a visionary who has shaped the way our nation learns. Professor Rajaram S. Sharma, our esteemed chief guest, onto the stage, please. Great science education is built when deep research meets young curiosity. Our next guest embodies that rare bridge between advanced physics and school classrooms. To appreciate the depth of her work and the breadth of her influence, let's look at her journey. Please watch the screen.
True impact in education comes from those who connect deep research with young minds. With a PhD in physics from the University of Mysore, and a DST fast-track postdoctoral fellowship, Dr. Vidya M.S. brings strong academic rigor to school education. Her work spans theoretical nuclear physics, science communication, and authorship, ranging from advanced physics texts to nature stories for young readers. Today, she continues to shape how science is taught, learned, and experienced in schools.
That journey reflects passion, precision, and purpose. It's my privilege to welcome a physicist, educator, and science communicator who continues to inspire classrooms across the country. Dr. Vidya M.S., our chief guest for the NCERT quiz competition. Please put your hands together to welcome Professor Rajaram S. Sharma and Dr. Vidya M.S. onto the stage.
Hello. A very good morning to all of you. When we were looking at all those questions that were being shown there, we said, thank God we don't have to take that quiz. Both of us would have failed. We did our education that you saw some 40 years ago. And perhaps we have forgotten everything that was there. There were many of you who would have got all that logic correct, all the calculation that you had to make, you made it very correctly, but somehow got confused between option 2 and option 3, and in that anxiety that you wanted to go to that next question, because you were also looking at your watch, you put a tick on the wrong question, wrong response. Okay? But when it was shown here, said, I know that answer, got it wrong. Many of us will go through life making such small choices which will take us onto a path which we don't want to go. What is it that will be happening in your minds when you make that kind of a choice? What should you do then? Life is not about a multiple choice question being ticked. Life is also not about exams, marks, getting ranks, getting into colleges, and so on. So what we thought is we will try and tell you our story. What is it that makes us different is the fact that we got onto the same bus that you people are on. All of you have got onto a bus saying we will take a board exam now, we will take an entrance exam now, we will go and pass this examination, we will get into this course, we will do this, we will do that. This is the journey that all of you are on. And you are not different from us, except that we got onto that bus 40 years ago. We also went through the same journey. We also made all those mistakes. We also sat and cried. We also said, okay, fine, let's get up and go. That let's get up and go is what we will try and talk to you about. We will try and show to you that yes, it is important to do all those things that you are doing, and yet, having said that I might have failed this examination, I can still go ahead and say I am an MSc in chemistry. She can still go ahead and say she is a PhD in physics. That is what we will try and talk to you about. Talk to you about our journey so that 30 years from now, 40 years from now, when you come back to DOPA and celebrate the batch of 2026, you should feel proud about what is it that you did today. By the way, how many of you are finding our English difficult to follow? All of you are following us? Okay, great. I'll hand over to Vidya.
Good morning. I'm happy to be with all of you. I'm really excited. And as Rajaram just mentioned, we would like to share with you our own journey and see if we can in somehow or the way help you out with your lives, your decisions, your dreams, and your aspirations. We also began like you. We were all top performers. We were very happy to be at the top of our class. But just like you, we also had all those whole small little moments when we were not very sure of ourselves. But when such a thing happened, our family and our school teachers, our schools, the community, they all stood up with us. They said, no, 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 all this need not be worried about. You can comfortably proceed and move ahead. You have the talent, you have all the skills, you have the knowledge. Who's going to stop you? They, in fact, told me who I was, even before I knew who I was. They seemed to have more confidence in me, even before I seemed to have more confidence in myself. And then, all the examinations did not matter. It was only my preparation, it was only my confidence, and it was how I could proceed and take things forward in the way I thought was best to me. And here I received the support, and I received all the structural support that the schools gave me and the teachers provided. The guidance that they gave me added to my confidence. I was a confident young person, and this confidence has taken me along in my life and brought me till here. Like you people, even I was at the +2 level, the 11th standard and the 12th standard. And it was important for me to decide what I had to do. How did I decide? What did I do to decide? The family and the schools and the colleges did support me, no doubt. But how did I really understand what I was interested in? What prompted me to take on something known as physics, chemistry, and mathematics as my major subjects, which I'd like to be engaged with, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, but for many more years. What was it that made me capable of this decision? And at that time, I didn't know what I was in for. I just knew that I have reached a point where I have to decide and take my decision very carefully, with a lot of consideration, with a lot of thought into it, and pursue it. So this was just the beginning, because till then, somebody else took my decisions. My parents, they of course asked me what I was interested in, but they helped me. In fact, one of my college professors even told me that I should not take physics, chemistry and biology, mathematics, but I should take biology instead. What prompted me not to listen? What prompted me to decide for myself? Likewise, I'm so sure all of you have to decide something or the other. What will take you far?
What you'll notice is that while all those facts that were being shown in that, so many chapters, so many textbook formulae, so many symbols, so many terms that you have to remember, all of that is perhaps less important than your mindset. The way you think about anything, all right? And then if you look at this list, you will notice that discipline, consistency, and endurance. You got something wrong, but you will not stop there. You might say, okay, fine, right now I am in a hurry. Let me go to the next question, come back again, but I will not leave it. While studying, while preparing for your exam, while going back to those chapters that you don't understand as much, you have to show these values. These are what will make you a different person. Every one of us does not become the same thing. For instance, the people who run DOPA, every one of them is an MBBS, but they are not practicing doctors. Notice, I had an MSc in chemistry, but I went and worked in school education. She has a PhD in physics. She does bird watching. Okay? So all of us follow our heart somewhere, but we do the same thing whether we were doing physics, whether we were doing chemistry, whether we were doing biology, whether we are doing cooking, whether we are doing driving. The values that we have, the habits of mind that we have cultivated is what is going to hold us in good stead. Okay? Next slide. They measure how well we can work within a given structure. Somebody has told us for the next 2 years, don't worry about anything. Focus on physics, focus on chemistry, focus on biology, focus on mathematics. Go through all these chapters, go through all these question papers, go through all this preparation that you have to do. Don't worry about anything else. But right now you have to do that. You have to do that because we should do well, because excellence is that habit, that little habit that you cultivate. We will need it for life. Irrespective of what we do in life, we will need these habits. And this is the ground where you are cultivating those habits. Apart from all the chemistry, all the biology, all the mathematics, you are cultivating your habits of the mind. And that is what is going to help you in the future.
I'd like to remind you of that nice question that you had on penicillin now. How many of you got that correct? Everybody?
No, only one of them got it correct.
Only one?
Two. Okay.
Do you notice that it was just a small little detail that skipped your mind? All of you, I'm so sure, knew what penicillin is used for. It is something used against, it's an antibiotic and used against bacteria. I'm so sure everybody knew this. There was just one small little detail that somehow did not stick to your mind at that time and remind you of it. That led to you not succeeding in that point. But how did it make you feel? When it was explained to you, how many of you oh my goodness, I knew it, but I didn't do it. That is the feeling that we always have, and we will have to ensure that we get into the habit of paying attention to small details so that we become more comfortable with doing things very fast, very quick, and allowing us not to get bogged down by the other pressures that can be acting on us. But now when we go over into college, what happens? All of a sudden, all the structure somehow or the other collapses. That's exactly what I discovered.
Notice that today you have been told that you will get 100 out of 100 in chemistry if you follow the 26-27 syllabus in chemistry defined by the NCERT, the particular facts that they have put into that textbook, that particular formula that has been written, even if it is wrong. Even if that formula is wrong, if you write the correct thing as per NCERT textbook, you will get 100 out of 100. Not that everything in NCERT would be wrong, but I am only pointing out to you that 100 out of 100 in chemistry does not mean that you are very good in chemistry. Think this over. 100 out of 100 only means that you have found a way of preparing yourself, using your habits of mind, not losing your cool, persevering through that, putting in all the hard work that is required, and during that examination date, all of that has become helpful to you, and you have put the right ticks in the right place, and you have got it. Now this syllabus that we define here in the school will vanish the moment you go to college. There will still be a syllabus. Somebody will tell you that you have to study this chapter and you'll have to study this course and so on and so forth, but they will not tell you what to study. They will not tell you how much to study. They will only say there are some old question papers, you can go and look at it, but they will not give you a guarantee that the new question paper will be of the same kind. Which means you will have to now start thinking for yourself. That syllabus will vanish, and the syllabus will progressively vanish in life. In life, nobody is going to tell you what to do. You have to do it. Okay? So this is a preparation for that. This is a training for that. How to work with the syllabus is a training for how to work without a syllabus.
In fact, the last session that we had here, where the questions were discussed and the right answer was indicated to you, along with an explanation of why is it that that particular answer had to be chosen, I want you to recall this. This is something that happens at this level. But as you get into college, that is what you are interested in, you will notice that the patience of the people who are mentoring you will start decreasing gradually. They'll say, oh, you are supposed to know all this. Why are you asking me? Can't you work this out for yourself? Find out for yourself. These are the normal responses that you will receive, though might be not in the same words, but that is the indication. Soon you are allowed to go ahead and fend for yourself. You have to look after yourself. Nobody will tell you how to study. You did not understand something, it is for you to work it out. So far, if there was a lot of people to help you out, you will find that the number of people who will help you out will start decreasing, and more you will have to depend upon yourself. That is where you will notice that the amount of effort that you put in and what comes out as the outcome need not be as you had imagined. They need not match each other. They can be totally different.
Are we prepared for that? Today, in your school, you have been selected and brought here because you are considered the toppers in your school, right? The best three. In this hall, all of you are best threes. In the next session of today, there will be some of them who will be left. Let us take the IIT examination as an example. There is an IIT general examination that you take in the beginning, and then there is an IIT advanced that you take. And after that, there are 1,000 people who will be selected into IITs. Every one of them is a topper. Because whatever was that cutoff mark that they had given, everybody has exceeded that. When I first went and joined NCERT, I was introduced to my colleagues. Every one of them was a PhD. So what is it that's going to be different between me and them? How will I become excellent in NCERT? How will I become excellent in that race? What is that race anyway? Isn't it? So think about this. It is not that you are a topper today, you have to continue to be a topper tomorrow, day after, etc. Even when you are walking alone, even when that syllabus has vanished, even when that structure has vanished. Okay? That's the preparation that you are expected.
And now you will notice at this level, the family cannot support us much. They might comfort us and say, go ahead, we are there with you. But we understand that our efforts are not matching up and we are not in a position to do exactly as we had intended to. Like in my own course, as I got into the master's level of physics, I started feeling that I have to really put in more efforts and perhaps I don't know much physics at all. The little physics I thought I was very good at, very confident, did not give me any more confidence now. That was when we meet a situation in life where we have to go ahead and assess ourselves and say, no, it's all right. Even if I do not have the talent, it doesn't matter, but we'll have to proceed with whatever skill set that we have. What is the mindset that we have to prepare ourselves for the journey forward.
Okay? So when you finally get into a job, your degrees doesn't matter. As I mentioned in NCERT, every one of us was a PhD. So I got, here from so-and-so university, I have a gold medal in so-and-so. Doesn't matter. All of us are only PhDs. All of us have a job to do. On that day, in my job, what I do is more important than what degrees I have. You must have seen all these army people going around with a lot of medals and a lot of ribbons and so on. Does not matter. There is an enemy with a gun in front. You have a gun. Who fires that gun first matters. Isn't it? He's not going to ask you how many medals do you have. Do you have the first choice? He's not going to ask you that. So life is a preparation for that kind of a future. Money does not matter. Money is important. Money is important for all of us in India because we have not had enough. Alright? But
it is not adequate. There is something else that is known as soul satisfaction that is very important. What actually differentiates us in the long term is our ability to learn continuously. As I mentioned to you, it is easy for us to get depressed and say, I don't know anything. But then I can always tell myself that I can learn anything. It only requires more effort. I can work with anybody, but it requires more effort. I have the ability to replan, but it requires effort and I am prepared for it. The most important thing is that I am prepared to put in all the efforts and take on the responsibility even when there is no syllabus. Even when there isn't any textbook which tells me what to prepare for. Even when there isn't any examination that tells me who will score me and who will evaluate me. I can evaluate myself. The career is where the world stops caring about our efforts and starts valuing about ourselves. So it is a value that we have, it is our inner confidence that will allow us to proceed in life. The world doesn't care about us. They don't even know who we are. We are so insignificant in this whole world. But what is more important is the values that we have in our heart and our desires and our capabilities that will take us on.
How many of you have heard of a name called Larry Page? A person called Larry Page. 2. Great. How many of you have seen the Google bar, Google search bar? All of you? Well, that's the person who made it. Finally, you will not be known by your name. It's only some Shah Rukh Khan here, some Elon Musk there whose names will come up. You know, their name will come before their achievements. They need not have achieved as much. If at all there is one person who I would believe has done the greatest good in the internet technology by giving you a simple bar there, saying type in whatever you want into this and I'll give you an answer, that is Larry Page. Okay? So the name of that individual, that human being, that person who did that is less important than what that person did. Okay? The achievement that you make. Think about this. Yeah. So beyond our career that we are in, I work in NCERT, I do this, I did that, I went to so and so places. When I had gone to the England, when I had gone to America, all of that will not matter. What will matter is that what kind of a person am I? What compromises am I willing to make? There will be everyone. How do I go about deciding that? What will I do if the cost of that decision is very high? What decisions will I take at that point in time? And finally, do I want to make a difference to the world? I can make money. I can buy the fanciest cars. I can live in the most palatial house that I can build. How will I be remembered? How will I contribute to that society? What will people know me as? Okay? Not by my name, not by my degrees, not by the position I hold, but by what I do. Okay? Yeah.
The most important thing here, of course, you can very quickly go through this, is acquiring a healthy crack detector. That is, when something is projected onto us, we should know how true it is and how false it is. How do we differentiate? Somebody praises us. Somebody lies to us. We lie to somebody. We praise somebody. That is not our, that might be necessary at that particular moment. But it does tell us a lot. How are we so sure that we can look at ourselves very carefully and examine our inner thoughts such that we remain true to these inner thoughts? That will promote us to drive for excellence.
It means that I am taking this course not because my father said you should become an engineer or a doctor, but because I want to become one. I want to become one because A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Which I am
You're
convinced
supposed to have
about.
worked out. That is the ownership of that idea, ownership of that thought. I did it because I thought through it, because I wanted to do it, not because the world has said so. There will be lots of beautiful things that others have done, but I need not do that only because others have done that. I'll become popular, I'll become famous, I'll get a lot of money. All of that matters, but finally you have to live that life. You have to look at the mirror in the morning, look at yourself and say, this fellow did a good job. That is the concept of agency. And this agency comes to that person who is independent in thought, who says, okay, fine, I will read all the books, I will listen to everybody who is going to tell me anything, but at the end of it, I will decide. It is my thought, my life, my work, my achievements, and I will stand by that. And for this, you require a little formula, a healthy crack detector. Have you noticed that when you go ahead and put something into the Google search bar, the first 4 things that come up there are advertisements, promotions. The world is out there to sell you everything, but that is not what you should be believing. If you don't know that that thing is wrong, then you will accept it for whatever it is. A crap detector, something that tells you this is wrong, this is bad, this is not useful, this is not what I want, is something that you have to cultivate. Okay? And all of these, just get back. All of these will drive you towards excellence. Better than what you could be yesterday. Doing something more than what you were able to do till yesterday. And that is not to impress somebody, but because it matters. It is very important either to the world or to your family or to that society or to that entire humanity. There are people who will go around and saying, we will remove all the plastic from the sea. There are people who will say, we will go ahead and protect all the Amazon jungle. There are people who will say, the rivers are getting polluted, we want to clean them up. How does it matter to them? They live in some city, they can always have their careers, their lives and so on. Isn't it? So, serving back, giving it back to the society is the important value that all of us must pursue. Yeah.
Finally, we come to what is the path that we have to set on. Is there a path at all? Do we know exactly what we want to do? We know that we are here at the moment, but what will be our next step? It all depends on our capabilities and the decisions that we can take. But nevertheless, what are the choices? What will we learn anything about? What do we do with our lives? Everything else is out there. And it is for us to create a path for ourselves. The path is not for somebody to tell us, oh, that is the direction that we have to go to. Move on that path. That is not for anybody to tell us that. It is for us to discover and find out how we can go ahead and negotiate the path that we have taken.
So what we are trying to say is that the path is not there in front of us. Somebody has not laid it out. Somebody has not given us a GPS and said, go on this road, take one right turn, then go 4 steps, then go here. That happens in school. In life, there is no road ahead. You walk on that path and then you look back and you see your footsteps, and that is how you come to know that that is the path that you took. Every one of us is going to take a different path. Every one of us is going to land up somewhere else. Okay? But all of us, for us to have succeeded, would have done so because we walked on the path that we chose. We knew where we wanted to go. We had become competent enough to make that decision. We are willing to take it. Therefore, the path that we chose
is or visualize that you are in a desert. There isn't any path laid out for anybody there. It has to be created. So we hope that all of you will create your own paths, be very happy, not only to go on that path, but also make it very secure for everybody else who's going to follow you on that path. So that is also a responsibility that you will have to have, shoulder it, and do wonderfully well in that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now comes one of the most exciting parts of the day, a chance for our students to interact directly with a distinguished guest. This is your moment to ask, explore, and get inspired. Let's begin the interaction session. I request the guests to stay on the stage. I repeat, this is the interaction session. You can interact with the guests. The students are requested to interact with the guests.
Hello sir, good morning. My name is Hemant and I am the team leader of Vidya in GVHSS Kalparamba. And my question is, in your point of view, what is the good and what is the most important quality for a textbook should have? A textbook should have. Yes. Should have.
Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, okay. You will first of all notice what a textbook is. A textbook is a step-by-step indication for a student to follow. And it is written for the student, it is not written for anybody else. So, for the student, it is a very structured way in which content is presented. If a textbook can present the content in a very well structured manner, such that the student can understand it and process it on its own, that is the first quality of a good textbook. I'll leave that.
See, also look at it this way. A nursery class child, or for that matter, a child who has just now learned to walk, requires a lot of guidance, requires a lot of hand-holding. So, if you don't support that child at that time, that child is likely to fall and hurt itself. But as it becomes older and older, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old child will try to pull its hand away and start running around without the parent wanting to support it. It does not want the parent to support. As it becomes older, it starts taking decisions on its own of where to go, when to go, how fast to go, when to cross the road, and so on. Just like that, a textbook will be good if it gradually releases itself from starting to prescribe to you what to do, how to do, when to do. It should handhold you through the process. It should give you the wings to fly and then leave you alone to fly. A textbook which comes in the way of your freedom is a bad textbook at your level. A textbook which does not support that child at the bottom is a bad textbook. So as you go higher and higher, if for instance you ask what Vidya was doing when she was doing a PhD work, she was actually referring to 10 textbooks because she did not agree with one thing or the other from one person or the other. She had become capable of doing that. She had become capable of questioning the textbook itself. Okay?
Now you will notice the second part which I want to speak about is that the textbook is written for an appropriate age group of children. The same textbook cannot be used for everybody. When we are speaking about students at this level, the textbook I mentioned to you has to be structured, but it has to promote thinking. And for the textbook to promote thinking, it has to challenge the student. Therefore, it will not give you answers very easily. It makes you think about. A good textbook at your level, that is +2 and beyond, is one which will present the perspective of that particular content, challenging you enough to use everything that you have learned so far and apply it to situations which are yet unknown to you. That is the second aspect of the textbook.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Question rephrase.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. We can hear you.
We are asking AI, and we are not ready to read the textbook because it is so much complex, and it is difficult to understand this textbook. So we are using AI to solve a simple complex question. So my question is, will it have a role in
I think we should close it down, no? What is your suggestion?
In the sense, you have also used AI, I'm so sure, and you have seen the slight difference between, and you've also read the NCERT textbook. Okay? You mentioned that it is time consuming. You have to read such a lot to understand. But AI will give it to you in brief. That is your point. The amount of time that you're going to spend on a particular topic is very important for the amount of understanding you're going to develop in that topic. If somebody gives you the answer, you will stop thinking. And if you stop thinking, the habit of thinking vanishes. At some point, how are you so sure that when you are required to think, you have the ability to think? One part. The second part is, how are you so sure that either the NCERT textbook or AI is correct? You are holding it as authority. Until and unless you hold it as an authority, you will go by what it says. But supposing you discover that it is not an authority, it is not giving you the correct facts, then what do you do? If you do not have the ability to think.
So what I believe is finally that the final answer, the correct answer is what you are going to be convinced by, and it can come from any source. When the first person, let's say Isaac Newton, went ahead and discovered something, did all the mathematics behind it, and went ahead and said, these are the 3 laws of motion, we started believing it. All right? But Newton did not come to us and tell us this. There is required some kind of a mediator, somebody who wrote it in a textbook, somebody who said, I also understood it. Now let me also try and explain to you. Each person is going to give you a different example, a different way of presenting it. Use a picture, use an illustration, use some example and communicate that to you. So who you trust doesn't matter. Finally, you should be convinced that that law works. Okay? So AI, frankly, is nothing but a glorified search engine. Where did AI get its knowledge from? From the NCERT textbook. Where did NCERT get its knowledge from? From some other textbook. NCERT is also some human beings who sit and write that textbook, right? So therefore, there is no final authority on it. It is always about whether that is true. And for that, each of us have to be equipped to judge whether something is correct or not correct. Okay? One last question, we are told. Okay, fine. Yes, sir.
Greetings, sir and ma'am. So, I have been wondering about this question for a long time, is how do you stop despising, say, the rat race? For instance, I will say that I am academically inclined and I like studying and I like going to school and it's somewhat fun. But the concept of entrance examinations, the concept of sheer competitive examinations really bothers me the wrong way and makes me not want to pursue it. Even though I can absolutely do it if I wanted to, and I can, for instance, do it if I do not focus on the results that it gives or what it paves. For example, I must say that we really glorify entrance exam, mainly just NEET or JEE, and I believe that the focus on we are focusing on the wrong values and we should somehow reorient ourselves to the right ones. And I want to ask how to stop actually despising the rat race and to actually give the effort that we are capable of.
All right. If I have understood your question correctly, I'm not very sure whether I have understood it. Let me rephrase it for you. You have a dilemma about whether entrance examinations should be there or not in the first place?
Yeah, so basically focusing on the sheer amount of competition makes it like not feel like it's not worth it or like that.
I'll use this phone. The question is this competition worthwhile? Is it making our life difficult? Would we rather not have competition? Is that your question?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay, fine. Now you look at competition in a different way. Competition is not to compete with somebody else, but to compete with yourself. Okay? If you can look at it that way, where you say, I know all this, but I want to go ahead and see if I still remember this after a certain amount of time. You are competing with yourself. I know all this, but let me see if I can do this quickly. What I took as 10 minutes to do this particular problem, can I do it in 2 minutes? You are competing with yourself. When you look at it that way, every competition that you compete with yourself is going to develop you further and further. And hence, don't worry about the others. Who's bothered about the others? It's your life, it's your path, isn't it? You go ahead. Go ahead satisfied and confident that it is the content, the concepts, the topic that is more important. Your interest and your passion that is more important. And competition is just another part. Trying to match your speed and skills with some particular standard is just part of the game. You don't have to get bogged down by that and worried about it. You can.
Let's look at it. Please sit down. Let's look at it slightly differently. Why does society have entrance examinations? Why do we have selection tests of any kind? Simply because we are a lot of people and we have a limited number of seats available to people. So the society believes it is quite compelled. It does not have any other alternative but to select from all of you a few people who can be fitted into the college seats that we have. Okay? So, from the society's point of view, we may not have an easy answer of saying, let us do away with entrance examination. Everybody who wants to be a doctor can be a doctor. If we had a very little population, a large number of seats available, whoever wants to get educated can get educated, then we could have possibly done away with the entrance examination. But that is the society's perspective. Now let us forget the society's perspective and talk about each of us individually. Why am I becoming unhappy with that? Because it is causing me a lot of stress. I have to remember so many things. I have to all the time study and, not do many things that I would have liked to do during this time. All right? So there is a little tension that is caused by being in 11th and 12th grade and trying to prepare for this entrance examination. But what Vidya is proposing is a kind of marriage between these two. Let us agree that there are a limited number of seats. Let us agree that the best way of getting into MBBS is by getting 100 out of 100 in all the papers that you take. Does it matter to you what your two neighbors are going to get? That is their problem. Let them handle that problem. Your problem is that you have to get 100 out of 100 in this. And to get 100 out of 100, you should know everything that is expected of you. It has nothing to do with what the other person gets. So if you can mentally separate out the competition part, the selection part, when is it competition will start mattering? You will start saying, I am today able to get only 84.8%. I can't get better than this. So only if others get less than 84, I will get selected. Now why are you worried about that? We have already told you you can get 100. Go ahead and prepare yourself for that 100. Okay? In fact, your preparation should be such that you will say, I know 150 out of 100. You ask me anything, I will give you 100 out of 100. I know 50 things more than what you want me to know. Okay? If you reach that point, mentally also you will have less problem with this whole idea. That pressure that you are facing now. What is it that you need to do for that? Those habits that you have, which is troubling you. It has nothing to do with physics, chemistry, biology, entrance test, MBBS, BE, etc. It is you. Okay? Right. Thank you very much, all of you.
Please stay back on the stage. Yeah. To honor our special guest today, I invite a leader who believes in empowering young minds and building bright futures, the director of DOPA Coaching Institute, Dr. Ashik Zainuddin, to please join us onto the stage. On behalf of the entire DOPA family, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished guests for sharing their time, wisdom, and inspiration with us today. Thank you for making this event truly unforgettable.
നേരത്തെ എഴുതിയിട്ടുള്ള റിസൾട്ടിൻ്റെ ആകാംക്ഷയോട് കൂടി വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുകയാണ് അല്ലേ? അതിൻ്റെ റിസൾട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സ്ക്രീനിൽ കാണാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പറ്റും. കഴിഞ്ഞ എക്സാമിൻ്റെ ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് 36 പേരെ ആയിരിക്കും, ടീമിനെ ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മുടെ നെക്സ്റ്റ് റൗണ്ടിലേക്ക് വിളിക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവുക. ആൻഡ് ഈ 36 പേരിനപ്പുറം, ടീമിനപ്പുറം നിങ്ങൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ട ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാര്യം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മെൻഡി ടെസ്റ്റ് കൂടി ഇറങ്ങുന്നുണ്ടല്ലേ തമന്ന മാം?
നമുക്കിവിടെ മെൻഡി പാരലലി നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവും. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ 36 പേരെ ഇവിടെ സെലക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാലും അതായത് ബാക്ക് ഔട്ട് ആയി പോകേണ്ട ആവശ്യം ഇവിടെ വരുന്നില്ല.
റിസൾട്ട് കാണാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു 31ാം റാങ്ക് തന്നെ കാണാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും. എനിക്ക്